I've always been an advocate for Carson Wentz. I've always wanted Carson Wentz to play well and do well ever since we drafted him out of Philadelphia. His career after that ACL injury really hasn't been the same, and right now he's been released by the Washington Commanders after pretty much what 2-3 seasons. After 2-3 seasons with Washington, I'm sorry, after one season with Washington where he started off 2-4 and then came in towards the end of the season and really pretty much there wasn't a difference between him and Taylor Heineke. Um, it's tough, right? When you think of that situation for him, it's a guy that has had an ACL injury, has had a back injury, who's had a right hand injury, and it really hasn't allowed him to have consistent rhythm to see, and I don't blame it on that. What I particularly do blame it on is two things: his leadership and his inability to throw the check down. I'm gonna keep it simple. Take what Demons has given you. Throughout his career, I think he's been slighted as a quarterback because he hasn't had a quarterback's coach that has noticed that in his game and said, "Hey, bro, throw the check down." Right? Taylor Davis has given you. He's a guy who likes to force the ball down the field, and that showed. He wasn't making plays, outside of, the improvisation, the one-off improvisation plays he had for Washington. When he was playing for Washington, he was, there was no difference between him and Taylor Heineke. And Taylor Heineke, I think, is essentially going to be gone this season. A guy who literally said on a podcast, being a backup quarterback is the best job in the world. That mentality is kind of weak. I think the best job in the world is to be a starting quarterback. But that just shows you this is the guy who celebrated, winning a game on a penalty where he flopped, which was a weak penalty against us. I'm still pissed off at it, but it was a weak penalty. So Taylor Heineke is going to be gone, and then the team has pretty much went all in on Sam Howell. I think that getting rid of Heineke stops the call from wanting to pull Heineke in if Sam Howell's not doing well. It's a great move for Washington getting rid of him now. They saved in some cap space. I think they saved in $26 million in cap space because the end of his contract wasn't guaranteed. So they saved quite a bit in cap space. But Carson Wentz just hasn't been the same as that guy. And I root for Carson Wentz. I want Carson Wentz to do well. I want this guy to, there's plenty of teams he can go to. Wherever he goes, he's going to have to compete. I actually narrowed it down to a couple of teams I think he can go to and have an immediate impact. Or a team that's willing to take a chance on him, the Houston Texans. Right now, Davis Mills is their guy, which isn't their guy. I think Carson Wentz can go there if Houston does see value in him. He can go there and he can compete for a job. Wherever he goes, he's going to have to compete. They can say, hey, look, we're going to draft a rookie, but have a veteran in there, and then if he starts to stink it up, this is his last straw. He's your backup, and your rookie is your guy. New Orleans Saints, which I know they've been entertaining Derek Carr, but I think this could be a landing spot for him. He can compete for a job. If he gets the right quarterback under his belt, the quarterback coach under his belt, they can really help him develop and learn how to make his passing game less predictable. Then also, I also had Atlanta Falcons. That he can go there and compete for an opportunity. Like say he's a free agent. Wherever he goes, he's going to have to compete. Mariota, who's been on and off, being healthy and not, really had a decent season this year, but I won't be surprised if Carson Wentz goes there and competes. And of course the Carolina Panthers, who kind of all these teams I've mentioned are kind of in the middle of the road of draft picks outside of Houston, where they don't have a high draft pick where they can draft the quarterback that may not still be on the board. These teams also may be looking to trade for a higher up draft pick, and if they don't get it, Carson Wentz may be that place filler for them. It all depends on how long Carson Wentz is on the market for. But I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Washington. Like I said, for them, they saved $26 million in cap space because the money wasn't guaranteed. They also released Bobby McCain during the situation. They gave up two third-round picks, and they swapped second-round picks with the Colts for him. And when they acquired him, so you don't need to trade him. I don't think anybody. Carson Wentz's trade value is pretty much gone right now. But we'll see. And I'm happy. The Washington Eric Bieniemy probably this is a conversation Eric Bieniemy probably had when he came to Washington, saying, "Hey, who's our guy, or who do you want the guy to be?" And then he probably let Carson Wentz know really quickly that, "Hey, look, you're not the guy." I would expect the Washington Commanders to draft the quarterback maybe in the second or even third round. If it's second or third round, then they'll be calling for his head. But if a quarterback's on the board in the second or third round, I won't be surprised if Washington, it's a guy they didn't expect to slip, they pull a trigger on. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it. We'll see how this all plays out. We'll see where Carson Wentz has a landing spot, and we'll see what happens with the Washington Commanders.